Hi everybody, thank you for being here. And I am going to do an introduction or a review on some of the language theorists and talk about why it is important for us as educators as well as anyone else that come in contact with the little ones and parents to understand the process of how children learn language and the why behind it, why it's important for us. We're going to get started. So our learning targets are, we are going to dive in and get a general knowledge of specific that I've already selected, learning theorists, and again, why it is important for us to understand and know. And we're going to analyze child development theories relevant to language development. When we are done, with the week, you should be able to explain developmental stages of language, develop a lesson plan to implement and evaluate language activities with young children, and identify the importance, the crucial importance of the adult's role, whether it is the educator, as I said, or the parent or anyone that comes in contact with children who are in charge of fostering their well-being, the importance of those people knowing about how to foster language development in the little ones. And then you're going to look at picture books, my favorite, and you're going to look at genres that support language and literacy development. So why do we study child development theories? Well, in summary, it gives us a solid understanding of child development theories. It empowers educators, caregivers, and parents to provide the best possible support and opportunities for children's growth and well-being. It serves as the foundation for nurturing healthy, well-adjusted, and successful individuals. What we all want for our future change makers. So looking at the slide here, we have four handsome individuals. We will get into detail about their amazing contribution to society and child development and language development. But these theorists give us a framework, and this framework allows us to connect the ages and stages with any curriculum that we are developing or creating or teaching. And it also provides that important understanding of developmentally appropriate activities so that we can create what I love. I did not coin this, but I love intentional play. I love that phrase because it just means so much to kids and to an educator who firmly believes in play is the way that children learn best, in my opinion. And play, when you introduce a child to intentional play, it makes a world of difference to their how they receive things, and obviously connects the brain and fires and wires synapses, and the learning is profound, especially when they're engaged and having fun. So it allows us to understand and look at best practices to support all learners. Not all learners learn at the same time. Not all learners receive things the same way. So it's important to have a foundation so we can look at each individual at where they are at that certain stage of life. Parenting, it helps us as parents to gain insight into the why and how children learn best, and that connects with the ages and stages as well. It also is super important, obviously, for educators to understand how and when children are supposed to learn certain things. That ties back to the ages and stages, and to recognize how we can empower parents at home as educators, as well as recognize when we don't quite see a child meeting that crucial stage within the time frame, and what we can do to react to that and take action. And that leads to early intervention. And early intervention, as we know, studies have been showing us for years how important early intervention is to the success of a child. Also, it gives us, knowing all these different great minds who contributed to learning theories, gives us an opportunity to understand different perspectives to develop the whole child, right? When we think about the whole child, we think about social, emotional, cognitive, and physical development. It's all encompassing, and it all is important to understand that it's all connected, right? And we need to know how important it is to foster language development. And in doing so, in order to foster language development, we need to know the stages of language development. And another super important component of this is having a cultural awareness of the background of each child that comes into our lives that we are responsible for educating, and understanding the importance of their culture, understanding what we don't know about that culture, and making sure that we are integrating everything that's important to their background, their culture, their background, their language, their customs, everything that makes up this happy family, right? People love their traditions and their cultures, and having knowledge of that as a teacher is a great tool and will help in the success of each child to bring them safety, security, happiness, familiarity, and the encompassing value of being felt, heard, and important, which is something we all want to do. And we need to start young with doing that for children. So cultural awareness is super important as well. So with that, we are going to go into the next slide. So let's look at some language development and child development theorists that I have selected for everybody. So Piaget, I'm sure that you've heard of Piaget and studied Piaget before. He's pretty famous. Piaget's theory of cognitive development, and in terms of literacy and language, he suggested that language development is closely tied to cognitive development. And as children progress through Piaget's stages, their language skills become more sophisticated and abstract. So, for example, as they move into the concrete operational stage, they become better at expressing their thoughts and ideas through language, which is vital, as we know, for literacy development. So there's the stages right in front of you. We've got the sensorimotor from 0 to 2, the pre-operational from 2 to 7. We've got the concrete from 7 to 11, and formal operational from 12 and up. And so child development theories provide valuable insight into how children grow, learn, and develop various skills, including those related to the science, math, literacy, and language. So looking at other key developmental theorists in relation to child development, specifically for language and literacy development first, we will go into, after Piaget, Witkowski. So Witkowski, so his sociocultural theory, his theory places strong emphasis on the role of language in cognitive development. He also argued that language not only reflects, but also shapes thinking. In terms of literacy, his theory suggests that children benefit from rich language experiences and interactions to develop reading and writing skills. This is called the zone of proximal development, or ZPD. So this is the difference between what children can do independently and what they can do with guidance. If they can have the guidance and support from a more knowledgeable and personable person like a teacher or a peer, he believed that learning occurs within that zone, and it represents the area where the child is ready to learn with assistance. So that is the zone of proximal development. And an example of this is, let's say you have a kindergarten student named Ella. That's my youngest daughter's name. I had to put her in there. And she's learning to read. So Ella can recognize some letters and simple words on her own. However, she struggles with more important complex words and understanding the meaning of those words. So when she reads independently, basically, she struggles. So if Ella were in the zone of proximal development, Witkowski's sociocultural theory is with guidance from a parent or a teacher, she can successfully read and comprehend a more challenging book. So the teacher or parent might use techniques like scaffolding, taking a book walk, think aloud, asking open-ended questions, and providing explanations to support Ella in understanding the text and words she can understand. So in Witkowski's sociocultural theory, in this context, it suggests that Ella's language and literacy development are enhanced when she interacts with someone who is more knowledgeable as she gains insight and as she gains more strategies and skills that she wouldn't have developed on her own. This will help her to grow. So through this interaction and in the zone of proximal development, Ella will gradually internalize the knowledge and skills she acquires during her interactions and eventually will become more proficient in reading and comprehending text independently. So Witkowski's sociological theory, however, it underscores the role of social interactions in language and literacy development. And it emphasized that children learn and internalize language, reading, and writing skills through guided participation, and cultural tools such as books, storytelling, and collaborative learning experiences are all important parts of learning language development through Witkowski's theory. So let's look a little bit at Skinner's behaviorism in terms of literacy and language. So Skinner's theory emphasizes the role of external stimuli and reinforcement in shaping behavior, including language and literacy development. In his theory, behavior is learned through a process of conditioning and rewards, and punishments play a crucial role. Development through techniques like behavior modification is used. Positive reinforcement for language and reading related behaviors such as reading aloud or vocabulary acquisition may encourage language and literacy growth in children as well. So his main tenets are positive reinforcement, operant conditioning, repetition and practice, progression, and generalization. So let's go ahead and consider a preschool class where the teacher is using Skinner's behaviorist principles to teach letter recognition to a young child. So in terms of positive reinforcement, the teacher simply introduces a letter recognition game or something like that. And with that, maybe using something as simple as flashcards. Each time a child correctly identifies a letter, they receive a small reward, such as a sticker or something tangible like that. So let's go, that's positive reinforcement, right? Let's move to operant conditioning. And with operant conditioning, over time, the child learns to associate correctly identifying letters with positive reinforcement, in this case being the sticker or stickers. As a result, they become more motivated to participate in the activity and learn the letters. So I'm sure all of us as educators have done this before. I myself have done this before, and it does work. So repetition and practice, thinking about that, then the teacher continues to reinforce the correct responses and encourages repetition and practice. The child or children are given more opportunities to identify the letters and earn stickers. Thinking about his idea of progression. So as the child becomes more proficient in recognizing individual letters, the teacher will introduce more challenging activities such as word recognition or simple sentences. The same principles of reinforcement are applied, rewarding correct responses. In the area of generalization, as children become skilled in letter recognition, they generalize these skills to other literacy-related activities, such as sounding out words and reading simple books. So in this scenario that I just discussed, Skinner's behaviorism theory, it's evident in the use of positive reinforcement, right? Being the stickers, and that strengthens the desired behavior, the letter recognition. So they get rewarded with a sticker, and it strengthens the desired behavior of recognizing the letters. The children's behavior of correctly identifying letters is shaped and strengthened through this reinforcement process. And in the end, hopefully it contributes to their language and literacy development. So it's important to know that Skinner's behaviorism has been influential in the design of instructional strategies, particularly in early childhood education. And it emphasizes the use of rewards and positive reinforcement to motivate and shape desired behaviors in the learning process. I taught kindergarten for a great many years, and I use different strategies and tools and regarded Skinner's behaviorism as a very fruitful way to run my classroom and get desired results, to be honest. And it's worked beautifully in developing whole language processing for children. I've also firmly believe in Piaget's theories, as well as they need the guidance of someone smarter than them to help guide them along the way in learning these stages of reading and language acquisition. So let's get into one of my favorite theorists, Brenner's ecological systems theory. And if you've taken Child Development 115, Dr. Anderson has a great book that we use on Brenner. And if you haven't taken that class, I highly recommend it. It was a great class to teach and a great time of learning. So with Brenner's ecological systems theory, he illustrates how various levels of influence in society collectively contribute to language and literacy development. So we've got the immediate family, and then the interactions that take place there, and then we go out as the system gets further away from the child. We move away from that and go to broader cultural norms and how that directly and indirectly affects the developing child, the whole child. So the theory highlights the interconnectedness of the systems and how they shape a child's growth in language and literacy development. So let's see. Let's imagine a child named Alex who is growing up in an ecological system that includes various levels of influence. So we've got the microsystem, and the microsystem represents the immediate environments that directly impact the child. So for Alex, that's this small immediate circle. So for Alex, this includes his family, maybe his preschool, and with the family and within the family and the microsystem, Alex's parents often read to him, engage in conversations, and encourage his language development by providing a literacy-rich home environment. And so this daily interaction and exposure to books and conversation support all tie into his fostering a love for language and literacy skills, and will only greatly enhance his ability to understand things as he develops. So let's look at his preschool. In the preschool microsystem, we're still in the microsystem, Alex's teachers use developmentally appropriate language and literacy activities. These include storytelling, group reading sessions, and opportunities for interaction with peers. The school environment plays a vital role in fostering his language and literacy development. As we move out of his circle, we go into mesosystems. And if we think about the mesosystem, and again, we're moving away from the microsystem, right? Think about microsystem being his small inner circle. The mesosystem represents the interactions and connections between the different microsystems. So thinking about Alex and his life, the communication between his family and his preschool impacts his language and literacy development. So Alex's parents and teachers at the preschool, they communicate regularly about his progress. This collaboration ensures that the strategies used at the school align with those at home, creating a more cohesive language and literacy learning experience for him. Alex is doing great so far, right? Then let's think about his exosystem. So the exosystem, again, moving further away from his little circle. And the exosystem includes settings that indirectly affect the child. In this example, it might be the community, it might be the local library. Let's look at the local library and give that example. So Alex's local library is hosting, let's say, story hours, which is great for kids, and also awesome literacy programs to foster a sense of community and to foster encouraging language and literacy development in the community children. So his parents often take him to see events at the library, providing additional, and outside of the library, let's bring that up, right? To provide additional opportunities for language and literacy exposure beyond the microsystems of the family and preschool. The macrosystem, again, moving further and further away, refers to the broader culture, the cultural and societal influences on a child's development. In Alex's case, he grows up in a society that values literacy and education. This macrosystem encourages it encourages a culture of reading and learning, right? So the societal norms, beliefs, and access to educational resources play a role in shaping his language and literacy development. Let's go into the chronosystem. So the chronosystem considers how changes in events over time. So now we're talking about time frame, okay? We're talking about time. So over time, Alex's development in his language and literacy skills may be influenced by the changes in society, right? Maybe going through a period of COVID, right? Think about that in trying to apply this to things that are going on or have gone on in the past 10 years. So maybe his literacy development may be influenced by changes such as transitioning to a different elementary school, or in fact going to an elementary school in his neighborhood, or maybe experiencing changes in family dynamics. Maybe dad got laid off. Maybe mom and dad are not doing so well at home and a divorce takes place. All of these shifts in his life can affect his developmental trajectory in these areas. It's important for teachers to have this knowledge of any sort of life transitions that parents and families and students are going through, so they can respond appropriately and take action in the right way immediately to support the academic and social emotional development and nurturing of the student and tie it into their family life. So in this example, again, let's say Brenner's ecological system, his theory illustrates how various levels of influence from immediate family and interactions to broader cultural norms collectively contribute to Alex's language and literacy development. The theory in all, it highlights the interconnectedness of these systems and how they can shape a child's growth in language and literacy skills. Love Bronfenbrenner. You should read up on him if you can. All right, I am done with that. Thank you so much for listening and going through those ideas with me. Hopefully you got some aha moments or some information that you didn't have before. So what we're going to do is, please, your next step is to go into Canvas and go to the week 1 assignment 1. And just to give you a little idea, a little peek view is you're going to watch the, after this, you're going to go ahead and you're you're going to watch a Sprouts video. I love the Sprouts video on the first 5 years. And it'll talk about language and give you a different way of learning about the first 5 years of life of learning in respect to language and literacy development. Then you're going to watch a TED Talk that is completely adorable about a young girl named Molly Wright. She is hosting the TED Talk and it's amazing. Okay, do not gloss over that. It's powerful and impactful. And so that one is entitled How Every Child Can Thrive by 5. She's so cute. Then you're going to reflect on the milestones and theories associated with each stage that you have learned through all of the information given to you thus far. And then don't forget about what you learned about in the discussion post as well, those the California standards and the foundational skills, and that will allow you to tie in all the knowledge that you're going to be utilizing in your assignments. So after you reflect on the milestones and theories associated with each stage, you're going to summarize the key points of language development. You're going to discuss the importance of early intervention. Again, use all the resources thus far and cite other sources, reputable, peer-reviewed articles that are reputable sources. If you need help finding those, reach out to me. And then you're going to conclude with a reflection on the significance of understanding language development for educators and parents. Super important. Cannot wait to hear what you are going to share. I am excited to learn from all of you as well. So go into Canvas and make sure you remember that the discussion post that you did hopefully before is due on the Wednesday, the 15th by midnight, and then all other assignments for the week are due on the 19th. All right, thank you very much. Goodbye.